Hi everybody, welcome to Spring Summer 2014. The overarching theme for this season is West Coasting, which means the Hilfiger family, our Hilfiger family, the preppy family which belongs to the East Coast. They're going to leave the East Coast this summer and move over to the West Coast, which is also called the Left Coast or the Best Coast. And yeah, they're going West Coasting this season on the Californian coast. This season, right now in the store, in Hit 1, we have two stories. Hit 1 is the Monterey, which is the main story. After that, we also have Hollywood, which is the pre-spring story. And in Hilfiger Denim, we have Las Vegas and Seattle. So we'll now just go over the forum store and we'll see all the stories, their color palettes and what they really mean. So this is our first story, Monterey, which is the main story of the season, which is also more than 50% of the entire season. So Monterey is a small seaside fishing town in the US and it's famous for its lush waters and surfing and all those sort of things, and which is where the rich and the famous of the America, they go to spend their summers. So as you can see, the niche behind me and the table in front of it, that's the Monterey story. So it is our flag story and this is really something which we really stand for every season and which is what we like to begin our season with. So we have kept it pure flag minus any sort of pop. In the niche, there's red, white and blue. And you can see that beautiful high point sitting over there in the center. We have tried to cross merchandise it a little bit with shoes in the center and there are shorts with belts, etc. You can notice the front hangs wherein we have tried to layer it up slightly. Like one side is totally layered up with a lot of stripe play happening on one side. Whereas the other side we've kept slightly light, but we have still thrown over a sweater on the shoulder to balance both the sides. The beauty about this story is stripes. So there's a lot of stripe play happening. As you can see, there are very less check shirts. So it's a lot about prints and stripes in general. If you take a closer look at the table, we have tried to make a table statement of printed shirts. Most of them are micro pattern, but we have tried to insert some of the bigger geometric patterns also in between to just break away from that monotony. And that is something which all of you must focus on, the print shirts. So yeah, no check shirts at the front of the store. Check shirts we are trying to move away from, and we are going to bring back the check shirts in Hit 2, but for now let's just concentrate on the prints. In the nesting table, just to create an ensemble and just to complete that outfit, we also have a chino statement at the bottom. And against that we have this mannequin who's styled in the same story. So again, it's really important to notice that the entire section should speak one language and not just the wall. So which is why the table which is sitting against the wall has to be really coherent, and the mannequin who's sitting in front of the wall has to be dressed in the same story as well. So that's Monterey for you, Hit 1. This is another 3-bay niche which we have created in forum. This is actually an offshoot of Monterey itself. So the green and the blue pop in the Monterey, we have tried to sort of segregate it on one side and tried to keep the flag pure that side. And both of these fresh colors, we have tried to place it at the entrance of the store, which is what is making the season look really fresh, because we want that splash of fresh colors coming onto the customers the moment they enter the stores, and which is really being achieved really well by this niche. So again, as you can see, we have tried to keep it really simple with these two colors, and at the same time inserted a few whites here and there to just keep it a little toned down, because both these tones are pretty bright and pretty dark. In the front hang, we have tried to layer this sort of transitional outerwear piece with this polo. In a way, it's conveying that spring has arrived and a little bit of cold is still there, probably up north, and we are still transitioning onto the summer. So yeah, this niche is all about blues and greens and whites. Okay, so this is the third niche which we've created in forum. In terms of priority, if you don't have so much space in your stores, just the flag story and that green and blue is enough. So this is priority number 3. If you do have space, please create this. So another version of Monterey, but taking a completely different route here. As you can see, we have this beautiful denim sort of vintage jacket which we have styled in the center, and which is really anchoring the entire niche, and everything around we've tried to put so as to match with that centerpiece. So you can see there are a lot of chambray pieces, be it that shirt right there hanging, or this denim bottom, or the chambray shirt on the top. So there are a lot of blues, so it's anchored in a lot of blues with a slight green hint. We've tried to add a bit of yellow as a pop, and as you can see, there's a little bit of red, but that is pushed onto the sides. So yeah, overall this niche has a very slightly denim-y, vintagey feel, but which is also the beauty of this niche because we've really tried to do this for the first time. I don't think there's ever a sportswear story which is so denim-y looking, but which is what makes it really young at the same time. And since all of these niches are sitting side by side, I think it's juxtaposing in a very, very beautiful way. Coming on to the table right in front of it. So we have this glass table, the 3-tier glass table, which is also a stock guzzler. So we've tried to create a statement on top of these multicolored polos with a sort of an emblem embroidery on top of it. And at the end, we have put in layers and layers of check shirt. So as I said, we do have a lot of check shirts. Of course, it's our staple for menswear. But we're just not trying to put it as a highlight piece right now, which is why wherever we have a check shirt, we've just tried to hide it a little bit because we are going to bring it up in hit 2. And of course, we have these 2 blouses on the side, which we have kept again as a flag story, which sits well with the rest of the wall as well. Okay, next up is this beautiful shirt wall, which we all love. In terms of positioning in forum, we have it near the trial room, which is really great because I've been told that every shirt literally flies off from this niche because it's so near to the trial room and everybody loves having a look at it when they're going for their trials. In terms of the statement, as you can see, it's a completely solid wall, barring a few striper options, which you don't necessarily need to put if you have more solid options. At the bottom, we've tried to hang all the linen shirts. On the top, it's a mix of linen and Oxford shirts. Also, another thing to note here is we have a couple of these neonic shades, the bright shades, which we have tried to segregate onto one side, and from there on, it sort of flows into the neutrals, starting from blues to beiges to greys and whites. So that's your shirt wall. Out here is a long browser along with a base small cuboid table. So you would remember this is the pre-spring story which has been in your stores since quite some time, right? It came during the sale, it was a part of hit 1A. So since it has been in the store since quite some time, just made like a small little island over here, segregating it totally on the side so that the rest of the store looks completely fresh. But let's say if you don't have one of these other stories which I've already talked about, you can always make a niche out of it if you feel like. In terms of colors, this pre-spring story called Hollywood, it's primarily purple and yellows, based in a little bit of olive and also a little bit of electric blue which is missing out here. So yeah, that's your Hollywood pre-spring. Alright, next up we have another very, very commercial moment in the store. We have this library wall wherein we have tried to create shades of blue and chambray. We've really tried to treat this as a canvas over which on the table we have painted these colorful polos. So this again belongs to Palm Spring, which is hit 2, but we are trying to give our customers sort of a sneak preview into what they are going to receive 1 month down the lane, which is why we have these beautiful color blocked polos in neonic colors, starting from greens to peaches to oranges and to blues. Again on the wall, going back to the wall, you can see a lot of high-low coming through. So it's not just a simple product display. There are polos, there are shirts, there are slippers, there are shoes, there are caps. So there's a lot of, there's a scarf as well, there's a lot of cross merchandising happening. At the same time, mostly we have maintained the paper folds, but you can also see some flat folds inserted in the center, which is really what is making this niche really, really appealing. Again, we start, you can see everything is color blocked and everything is moving from light to dark. So we start with a bay of whites, moving on to light blues, slightly darker blues and then navies, creating a very interesting palette of blues on blues. Moving on to the blouses on the two sides, we have this very interesting statement this time of the country polos. So catching up with the FIFA fever, which is going to come up this year. We have 5 polos belonging to 4 different countries. We have 2 versions of Brazil, we have England, we have one of Spain or Italy, probably the football lovers would know better. So we have these limited edition polos mixed up with some chino shorts on these 2 blouses. So next up we have our $1 million table. It's obviously called a $1 million table for a reason. Fetches a lot of, not dollars, rupees. So as you can see, this is the head of the polo table. This is the entrance of the store and this is really how we want to welcome our customers with these nice, happy, fresh colors. So there's this beautiful sunset palette right at the beginning, starting with peaches and oranges. We then move towards yellows and greens, following the same sort of color wheel. And then we have shades of aqua and shades of blue. Next up, as we move over to the other side, we have shades of purples and pinks coming together. And we are ending into slightly darker and brighter shades of red. So as you can notice again, the top part of the table we have these quarter folds which have these detailings on the sides. The second layer is polos with collars towards the outside, and the third layer are the polos, regular folded paper folded polos with the detailing showing on the outside, be it a flag or a badge or an embroidery. And coming to the last niche of men's sportswear this season. So this is again a version of Palm Springs. We have tried to create like a small niche in one corner. But as you can see, Palm Spring, if you would remember from the conference times, it's a lot about saturated colors and color on color, really in your face color. But on the other hand, we've tried to create a niche which is slightly washed down. We've tried to insert a lot of whites in it so that it looks more pastel than brights, so that when Hit 2 comes in, we really have that added freshness in the stores, and you know, these colors don't get stale by that time, so which is what we're trying to achieve. So even if you have some solid bright colors, just put them on the polo table or you know, the polo wall or something. Don't mix that up in this story if you're creating the story that is in your store in the first place. So in terms of colors, as you can see, there are a lot of peaches and oranges mixed with shades of green, be it mint green or slightly darker green as well, and lots of whites. Even these multicolored check shirts which are there, they're on a base of white. There's also a little bit of linen onto it, which makes it very summery and very fresh. In terms of detailing, again you can see there's a really nice beige shoe inserted with, which has like a sole with a painted stripe in orange, which really ties, which is like a small little hint in this niche and ties the entire niche together. We also have done these small little detailing. For example, we've turned this polo stack, not inside out, but we've just turned it around so as to show the detailing on the collar. That really pops it up and makes it really interesting. So that's about it for men's sportswear. We'll now be moving on to men's denim line, which my colleague Supriya will be taking.
Hi guys, so now we start our denim line for SS14. Now as you can see, this side we had a very denim-y vintage looking sports line niche, and we are slowly transitioning into the denim section, which is a wall full of denims. As you can see, we have introduced a new fold to make it more fresh and make it look different from what we've seen before in the past seasons. Also, we've created a browser within the denim wall this time, where we have displayed all the fits and all the colors that are available. So now, since this area is so bottom heavy, we have created a product statement of printed shirts right in front. As you can see, the printed shirts in denim line are very different from the ones in sports line. Point to note is that these are much younger and much fresher and more casual looking. And on this small table here, we have popped up all the new colors that we've introduced in our best-selling Sabim shirts this year. So now we move on to the focal niche for denim line this season, which is Las Vegas, which is literally translated in some of the t-shirts, and most of the stores across the country should be getting these. This story, just like the rest of the store, is rooted in blues and chambrays, but you can see the pops in this story are in greens and yellows. This denim line, again, similar to sports line this season, is very print oriented. So we have this bird print happening here, and then you have some camouflage happening over there. A special point to note this time is that we have reintroduced paper folding in denim line, similar to sports line. Only in some stores where the merchandise is a lot more in offering and the niches are bigger, we have tried to introduce a slight high-low situation where we have kept some of the folds flat and the rest is on paper. But if your store has less merchandise, please go blindly with paper folding all across. We come to this side. This side we have the first story that we received for the season while the sale was still on. The name of the story is Seattle. Again, this story is also rooted in very dull grays and blues. But if you see overall, at no point do you feel the story is very toned down because of the rich accents of the orange and the pale blue that we have. Last but not least, we have a commercial, the last commercial point happening here, which is a product statement of polos. To create a certain interest, we have clubbed the solid ones with striped polos. And over here, we have tried to create an interesting browser where we have an outfit happening. So we have used some shirts, some t-shirts and chinos at the same time. We have a low table down there where we have used the very basic V-neck t-shirts that we've received this season to add to the whole statement happening. Okay guys, so this was your preview to the men's collection for 2014 summer. And now please hold your breath for an amazing counterpart in women's wear as well. Thank you.